Hello, I'm APX Toycat, and Minecraft has never been shy in admitting that they don't think every animal needs a use, and don't take my word for that, just look at the bat, the polar bear, the fox, the llama, the parrot, and I'm not going to keep going on here, but long story short, Minecraft has a lot of mobs now, and it's clear they intend to keep on adding mobs to future updates, and so I figured it'd be fun to give you my very serious ideas for new mobs that should be added to Minecraft, but then mix in some ones that aren't so serious, and then you can work out which ones sound like real mob additions and which ones don't. Because people have been talking about Minecraft a lot recently in the news and even on social media. It's everywhere, and when they're doing it, they're talking about Squid Game, and I wouldn't have assumed the 2 squids Minecraft has right now are the greatest of reasons to play the game, but it's clear that I'm wrong here because the wave of hype around it is so high that I think Minecraft needs to up their Squid Game and add a new type of squid to it, and rather than having another overworld squid, how about a nether squid? How about a squid that specifically swims in the lava of the nether? Right now, the nether is a very lively place except for that giant ocean depth that they have right now. Why not have a lava squid that drops lava ink sacs? Because that makes as much sense as anything else. Failing that though, if they really don't want to add squids and follow trends, then maybe instead what they could do is have a different type of mob that is down there in the lava, either that you could find specifically by drinking a fire resistance potion and jumping in, or not drinking a fire resistance potion and jumping in, although I don't really recommend that second one, but they could add another mob to those fiery depths, and you know, they could make it have lava resistant drops, but obviously I think what might be more fun is if a monster pops out every now and then, so you always know he might be below there, but every now and then he shows his face, and I'm picturing something like the monster from Yoshi's Story. Oh, it's a big scary thing that pops out there, but there are so many great ideas for a lava-based monster, and I feel like if you want to add ultimate threat to the nether, you know, because right now, the lava pits are actually relatively safe. You're only going to find some striders there, which won't harm you, and you might get jumped on by a magma cube or a ghast, but I feel like if you want to add the ultimate threat to the nether, you make that lava pool actually have some life in it, and speaking of adding some life, why don't we have a phoenix just to make the nether prettier? I mean, what else would it do? It would be fiery, and it would make the game pretty, and that is just as good a justification as I'm sure someone provided for the parrot one day, and it's a better justification than the one for the phantom. Hashtag we really don't need phantoms, but at least they have some use, I guess. So we've been talking about the nether a lot at the start of this video, which is probably to some fault, because when you picture mobs, you're picturing overworld ones, so why don't we go to the savannah and have some mob in that biome that actually makes the biome risky, because the savannah biome right now is probably the best biome in Minecraft. It's got a grass base, it's relatively flat, there's no rain, and you've got trees around you, as well as potential village spawns. Maybe that could be balanced out by having the occasional lion spawn. I mean, lions seem a little bit ridiculous, and I do feel like you have to have some protection for new players, so maybe they don't spawn on the first day, or maybe they only spawn on hard difficulty, but I feel like having some mob that is genuinely making this biome dangerous would make the savannah a more interesting place to be, because again, that lion could have like a lion mane, and if you brew that into a potion, maybe that could make you additionally strong. Yeah, there we go. I mean toughness, by the way, obviously, not like obviously having the strength effect, because right now that is a blaze that gives that to you. Although isn't that weird too? You know, speaking of things that are weird, I feel like the savannah also needs a giraffe. Why does it need a giraffe? Because right now, if you look at the savannah trees, they have very tall leaves, and so it's not like the cows and the pigs are going to be able to eat those leaves. Those leaves are going uneaten in the savannah biome, and what we need is a giraffe to go in there and eat those leaves. Munch, 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 munch. Isn't that what we need? Yes, that is what we need. No more questions are required at this phase. Speaking of questions, I've always questioned why there isn't an alpaca in Minecraft, and you might have had the exact same one, and you know, sadly, the actual answer is the very first ever mob vote that was ever done before all of the Minecon Live ones, and you know, all of the monstrosities that have been added that maybe ruin the night skies, but before all of the mob votes that we, the community, decided on very officially, Jeb once did a vote to make the player base decide between the llama and the alpaca. The player base decided on the llama, and then 1.11 got the llama mob, which does all sorts of things, like you can put carpet on them, and you can put chests on them and then tie them together, and people do that all the time because it's incredibly useful, right? And so in this same vein, let's have an alpaca, because clearly most of the benefit of the llama existing in Minecraft is they're incredibly cute, and alpacas are so adorable too, so why don't we have alpacas that can be like the hybrid mob between a horse or a donkey and between a sheep. Let's say it's a mob that you can shear for wool, or you could ride it up a a hill, and it could be especially good at steep hills, because horses can auto climb up one block, just like how you can auto jump if you turn on that feature, but the alpaca could be really good for the new mountains and whatnot, so you make it so it can go up steep hills with an auto jump radius of 2 to 3 blocks, and now you just spam forwards and the alpaca does all the climbing. Is that how they work in real life? I mean, have you ever looked at a chicken in Minecraft? Do they drop one feather, one piece of chicken breast, and lay an egg every 10 minutes in real life? Or is that not how that works either? Oh, I think you'll find that that's correct, and so we can do whatever we want. Like, if we're doing whatever we want anyway, why not add geese to the game? Geese are incredibly cute. When I was living in New York just a few short months ago, there were geese in between my apartment and the metro stop, and so it was incredibly adorable to just walk past some geese and see them grow up every day. You know what? If adorable is a criteria for mobs in Minecraft, geese in Minecraft, I'm officially coming up with that one right now. It's a very important idea we need to seriously consider, and if we're actually going for more serious, interesting mechanics to Minecraft, perhaps we could say, okay, what about gorillas? So right now, I think the jungles are really lacking in mobs. I mean, sure they have pandas, and sure they have parrots, because as you all know, when you go into the jungle, you expect to find precisely those two things. What if there were, like giant monkeys, or apes, or gorillas, or something in the family of mobs that in real life would totally murder you if you just crossed it the wrong way? For real, if you've never seen what monkeys do to humans when they go crazy, let me just tell you, it's horrific. I would usually do the thing where I show you on screen some examples, but just trust me, don't look at what monkeys do to a person when they're untrained, just instead say that, like, okay, yeah, so there are a ton of different opportunities you could add, and obviously we don't have to make it a hostile mob. Hostile mobs aren't good mobs all the time. However, a gorilla could be like a risk-reward mob. You could give it a banana, and it could reward you with infinite knowledge. It could point you towards, I don't know, I guess the nearest village, because that's where it'd be coming from. You know what? Are these ideas fully thought out? You better believe they're partially thought out, just like this next one, because Minecraft has an entire spin-off game they cancelled this year called Minecraft Earth, and there are so many mobs inside of that one, and obviously the easiest example to point to is the melon golem. We need a melon golem in Minecraft. It just looks adorable. Even if it's just a reskin version of the snow golem, sure, I'll take it. We need to have a skin or a way to get a skeleton dog. There's a skeleton horse, there's a skeleton. Why not have a skeleton dog? By the way, have you ever considered how skeletons have 224 bones in their bodies, but they only drop 1 to 2? I'm starting to think Minecraft's not a very realistic game, actually. Also, skeletons don't exist in the real world. I mean, skeletons exist in the real world, but they don't try to shoot you with arrows. I mean, if there were skeletons in the real world that really hated humans, they'd probably use an AR-15, let's be honest. So, skeletons, not very realistic, and so we can have skeleton dogs for that reason, and since we can have skeleton dogs, why not have flower variants of the Moo Bloom? I mean, the Moo Bloom we saw that we all voted on and came second, it's very adorable, we all get that. However, how about this Moo Bloom right here? Oh, it's got pink flowers on instead. Isn't that adorable? Yes, it is adorable. I feel like mushrooms are such a rarely seen mob anyway, that adding a whole ton of variants to it is a great way to increase the content in Minecraft without changing that base player experience. Same with like rabbit variants, same with chicken variants. Honestly, I'm surprised we don't have chicken variants besides maybe the mushroom chicken, which is very confusing. But there are so many great mobs they could add to Minecraft that they've literally already made and programmed into the Bedrock engine, but then they just didn't. And it's very strange, very sad. Speaking of strange, sad things, did you know you can crossbreed animals in real life? In fact, you can do this specifically in Minecraft with the donkey and the horse. Do you know what you get? You get a mule. The mule is sterile, and that's very realistic, it's very good. However, if we're adding effective crossbreeds to Minecraft and we want to teach people about the real world, we should be able to combine, other animals that exist. And obviously we don't have lions yet, because lions and tigers make ligers. We all know that, but you might not know that you can crossbreed a goat and a sheep to get a geep. I think it would be a great addition to teach people about things, just like how the ostrich would be a great addition. It could, run around the savannah. Okay, you know what? This sounds like a joke suggestion, but this is actually a confirmed new mob coming to Minecraft at some point in the future, because as we all know, we do mob votes, and one of the discarded mob votes, but they don't actually discard them, they just say they're coming at some point in the future, is the ostrich. What does the ostrich do? It will go around and it will bury its head in the sand sometimes, we've maybe seen, and yeah, we don't know anything else that it's doing. Same with the meerkat. Honestly, isn't it funny that, like, the actual list of mobs coming to Minecraft, the frog as well, the vulture, they all sound just as ridiculous as the ones I've made up for this list. You know what? Just a reminder that as unserious as this sounds, as usually we try to go very factual, when we're talking about new mobs, let's be honest, they can add basically anything, and it's the one part of the game they have free reign to make as many questionable decisions as they like. I mean, for instance, look at the original design of the bee and how horrifying that is. The original design of the Wandering Trade is another one I always look at and I go, yeah, this is a sign things are weird. So, you know what, things are weird anyway. I love looking at pictures of Minecraft unicorns because they're just horses with little horns on their head, but you know what, it really would help to build a magical new biome if they just added unicorns. Again, let's give up on the illusion of reality. There are guardians and elder guardians and endermen and wither skeletons in this game. Nothing makes any sense anyway, so let's have some unicorns. Unless actually it turns out that having rules and keeping the game grounded does make some sense, because you can add anything you like to the game, but you're ultimately just removing some of the cohesiveness that makes people understand and really appreciate the whole thing. And in that case, maybe we could add some ocean life to the game with some lobsters. What would the lobsters do? They would exist. They would be at the bottom of the ocean and they would follow basic rules unless you killed them and you got some lobster. Because right now there are free sources of food you can find in the ocean, but those free sources are rotten flesh from drowned, kelp from, you know, obviously kelp itself, and then there is obviously also you can get fish if you find those laying around. And off the three of those things, only fish can really be made okay by cooking it up, and even then it's just an okay source of food. What if there was a great source of food you could specifically find in the ocean, and that could be maybe rare from fishing in some way, or you could go right down there to the bottom and you could find some occasionally rare lobsters, and those rare lobsters would do very little besides being rare and being a good source of food when you did kill them, because guess what, you combine lobster meat and you combine bread and you get a lobster roll, which as we all know is superior food. That's why they cost near enough £20, and so as a result you could eat some lobster roll, it would recover most of your hunger bar, and life would be good, because that's all I want from life, and that's how I make my Minecraft decisions. I do feel like as far as balance goes, we do have not really a need for more useless mobs or more mobs that just exist for one small purpose, and you know, it's fine to add them, it doesn't actually remove my enjoyment, but if we are going to add some new mobs and there's a specific quota of new mobs, I really feel like doing things with bosses would be great. For instance, the wither right now always uses 3 heads. What if you could use more than 3 heads? Or, hear me out, what if you could use a different block for the base of the wither to get a stronger or weaker wither boss? And maybe the stronger wither has a chance of dropping 2, wither stars. Wow. Or nether stars, whatever they're called, the thing that makes beacons. Those would be really interesting, because now you're actually starting to challenge yourself, and, you know, again, challenging yourself is a good thing, and that's why my most ludicrous idea right here is I feel like, you know, the end of Minecraft is the Ender Dragon. That's when the game officially ends, but obviously they've got the wither and they've got so much post-game content, and I feel like they should add another endpoint to Minecraft. Again, they could always go past this later, but what's the hardest thing to do in Minecraft right now? The how did we get here achievement. It's so hard that you genuinely can't do this by mistake, so I feel like the risk-reward of it should be pretty high to make up for it. Right now, you just get an achievement. You actually get experience if you're playing Java. You don't actually get an achievement at all if you're playing Bedrock. It's not programmed into the game. But what if doing the how did you get here achievement actually also spawned a new boss mob that could be perhaps humanoid? I feel like all of the bosses right now play on not being humans, being like, ooh, it's a dragon and it fires acid. No, what if it was a humanoid that had a set of actual netherite armor and a netherite sword and would attack you just like a humanoid would? It's been so long since we've seen humans in Minecraft, and I feel like maybe we could make this humanoid style mob maybe look like that one guy with the big white eyes. What's his name? Oh yes, that's Herobrine. I genuinely feel like the funniest Easter egg after all of that work would be to add a Herobrine style boss to the game that can do ludicrous things, like he can teleport behind you, do all of these things that like players have been making up forever as part of the mythos. And what if he could be like this ludicrous boss that you had to fight in kind of a PvP style? I think that would be so interesting, because, you know, Mojang obviously has had Herobrine in the game before. They've removed him many times, and except no, that's just a joke. I feel like the one reason we can't have Herobrine is because people would be like, oh, so he was here the whole time. And again, people use it to trick children into watching, you know, terrible videos, into summoning and stuff. I totally am not a fan of that, but I think having some ludicrously hard challenge at the very end of Minecraft Minecraft, you don't even need to give it a particularly good reward. You just need to make it like a, yeah, this is the final challenge in the game. You do the how did we get here achievement, you break the game and Herobrine magically spawns, and there is my idea, there is my bad idea. I'm bad at these, and so as a result, I'm looking forward to getting hired. More seriously, I do think it is just fun to talk about mobs that could and should exist, because I do think that the attitude Minecraft's been having recently of add mobs to the game rather than giving them specific handcrafted uses is what Minecraft actually used to do in the early days. I've said many times before that, like, yeah, you know, it's kind of dumb that they keep adding new mobs without a real use, but if you think about the pig and the cow for a moment, for the longest time, the pig was just a worse cow because, you know, you would only get the food as opposed to the food and the leather, and it didn't have all the additional things like riding it, etc. Cows were just better pigs because you can milk them, and when you kill them, you get, you know, both leather and the food, and so, you know, there wasn't really much use there, and even if there was much unique use, it's not adding that much to add the pig to the game, and I feel like recently they have done a much better job at least having them be separate niches to later be added to. Even the goat, which is the mob that I make the most fun of, I feel like the goat genuinely has that game use planned, and so I wouldn't hate an update that was just filled with Minecraft mobs that didn't have a use at that moment if there was clearly space for them to expand and have something added later. I mean, the fox hasn't really had anything done to it in the last few years, and the bat hasn't had anything done to it in, it's been a decade now, hasn't it? And so as a, you know, some of those mobs maybe could use a little bit more love, but I actually do feel like as much as this was a 15-minute rant on how useless things are useless, in reality, things are actually pretty well balanced over there, and I want to just say, I do appreciate new mobs, but that doesn't mean I don't want to see geese in the game. They're adorable, and we need more of them. Speaking of things that are adorable, thank you for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Unless this is the last video ever. Let's find out tomorrow, shall we? Bye.